So let's carry on where we left off with a visual explanation of exactly how SQL works. Now, you should have seen this before. So here we have our server. Okay, so our server again is basically a computer where it just has a super fast processor, tons of RAM, and unlike a desktop computer, a personal computer, or a notebook that is meant to basically for one person to use it at one time, a server is meant for many people, millions and up to millions of people to use that computer at the same time, which is why everything needs to be better and faster. But aside from that, a server is basically the same as any other computer. It has the same parts: processor, memory, hard disk, power supply, RAM, and whatnot. Okay, so in the in our server we have installed our web server. Okay, so we install the web server program, and then if it's a database driven, if it's a dynamic website, such as Hotmail, Facebook, eBay, Twitter, what's this, World Banking websites, Wiki, something that you can interact, log in, and extract data, then you'll need something like PHP. Okay, so so what we do here is we install PHP. Okay, and if it's a database driven website, and what we're going to do also is we're going to install a MySQL program. Okay, so basically with these three computers, with these clients, these computers, what they do is they access the web server. Okay, and they ask the web server, well, give me a web page. All right. So when the web server extracts that page, okay, so the web server gets, let's say, a PHP page from the hard disk, okay, and the web server, when it reaches the PHP file, it sees that you see here in the red, okay, those are all the PHP commands. So what it does is, instead of sending it to the client, okay, what the web server does is it sends it to PHP, okay, the PHP program. The PHP program reads the instructions in red, okay, and then follows those instructions, okay. And then when PHP comes down and sees that here we have blue, I see there's a few actually I could show you this. Okay, so when PHP reaches, okay, this is all PHP, and PHP comes down to here and says, okay, here we go. Now here's some SQL commands. Aha! So when PHP finds the SQL commands, then PHP goes to MySQL, okay, and then MySQL follows the SQL commands. It extracts the data that it's asked to extract. It queries the database, okay, that in the way that it was asked by the programmer. So I can show you right here. So here's the query. Here's the question that you want to. Here's the data that you want to extract. The question you want to query the database to extract the data. So MySQL follows those instructions, extracts the data, okay, and then it goes back to the web server. The web server assembles the HTML page and basically sends it right off to the client. And the client, what they see, okay, is they see a Facebook page with their profile on it, okay, and that is the based on the queries in which the programmer has implemented, for the program. So that, in a real small nutshell, is how SQL works. You can see that the web server works. The web server knows that PHP is installed. Okay, PHP knows that SQL is installed, and the three of them work in conjunction with each other in order to basically present the clients with specialized information. All right. So let me move back to here. So I'll leave it on this page just so you can see, just for a few seconds, so that you can see kind of the entire process as as it happens. You might want to, if it's unclear, you might want to rewind it, the tape, or the video a little bit, and review it. While you're looking at this picture, a few key things you want to remember is that the web server, PHP, and the SQL program you decide to use are three separate programs that you install in the computer, and you can install them individually if you want. So you can choose whatever web server you want. Popular web servers are, by far the most popular web servers is Apache. IIS is a Microsoft Internet Information Services, or IIS, is a Microsoft product. Another popular one is Tomcat. Those are different web servers, so you can choose the one you want. Now the web server cooperates with PHP. Now you don't have to use PHP. You can use ASP, Cold Fusion, Perl, any of a number of different programming languages. So you can choose what program you want there. And you don't have to use MySQL. You can use whatever SQL program you want. And there's many different SQL programs that are available to you. And like I said before, the three of them work in conjunction to provide the client or the user, okay, with a rich and dynamic web experience, such as what we see here with Hotmail, Facebook, eBay, Twitter, Royal Bank, and any banking, Wikipedia, Amazon, Costco. Actually, not just Costco, but any kind of e-commerce website, and all kinds of these fancy websites all work using basically the same technology, just different, different combinations of the same technology. Okay. Now, that leads me to the next one. Talking about is there's so many SQL programs. Why? Okay. Well, first of all, before I explain why, let me explain to you some of the different SQL programs. So we have Microsoft SQL. Okay. A database program using SQL language, or derivative of it, something very similar to it. That basically, again, it's a manages a repository of data, allows up to millions of users to access at the same time. Now, you have Oracle SQL. Okay. Again, it basically does the same thing as Microsoft SQL, and we have Pervasive SQL, and then we have what we're using is a free one called MySQL, and so there's many different flavors of SQL, and there's many more that I totally missed. Why are there so many SQL programs that basically do the same thing? They allow it. They allow you, the programmer, to query to access this language. Well, that's like asking, well, why are there so many different browsers? I mean, like, we have Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, Chrome, Firefox, right? 5 different browsers, but they all do the same thing. Okay, and they all browse the internet. So what do we need 5 different browsers for? Well, each browser has their own advantages, disadvantages, and flavors, as I like to say. Kind of a personal preference. It just so happens that Oracle is a whole lot more robust and powerful than MySQL, right? They're not the same thing. So, so getting back to this one, the SQL program, you can install whichever one you want, and there's many different flavors of it. And like I said, and it's just different SQL programs have different features. It's basically that simple. Okay, so I'm basically done part 1-1, part 1-2. Now this is my first time actually making these video lessons for SQL, so I once again completely underestimated the amount of time I need to explain these things. So I have just finished part 1-2, and just finished this whole section and ending with why are there so many SQL programs, and I'm about to get into part 1-3 in the next video. So I'll talk to you soon.